Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about social anxiety, which is something that I personally struggle quite a bit with. Um, People often they state social anxiety as a symptom of Asperger syndrome, almost like the Asperger syndrome itself causes the social anxiety. And that may be true for some people, but for me personally, and some of the other people I've known who have Asperger syndrome, I don't know if it's really a symptom of the condition. I'm not sure it's innate. Um, when I was young, I didn't have social anxiety. I wasn't shy. I was always independent. I always liked to do my own thing. But I don't really remember having social anxiety until probably around middle school. And I think it's normal around that time. You tend to become more self conscious and um, everything's changing, and they often say that self-esteem goes down around that age, which makes sense because you go through a lot around that age. But I think that my social anxiety, it built over the years. It honestly wasn't that bad in middle school or necessarily even high school. I would say it worsened some in high school, probably around the 10th or 11th grade, but it was definitely something that just accumulated over the years. And the reason I don't think it is actually a symptom of the Asperger syndrome is because I'm pretty sure my social anxiety came from years of being misunderstood, sometimes being mistreated by people who didn't understand me. And I think that it also came from this feeling of rejection that I often had, that you know, for some reason, everybody else seemed to understand a lot of things so easily, like relationships and social interactions and things like that. And I always felt like kind of an outsider and kind of rejected, even though I think sometimes people didn't invite me to things or didn't talk to me a whole lot because I can be hard to get to know, which is something I try to work on. But I know that people who meet me online, they think that I'm so outgoing and that I share so much about myself. But if those people met me in person, a lot of them will probably be surprised because in person I'm often quite quiet and shy unless a subject comes up that I'm really passionate about. And then I come out of my shell. And it's not really shyness, it's just so much of social interactions I don't have much interest in, or I feel like I'm not very good at it, so I tend to shy away from social interaction. And I think my social anxiety, a lot that affected it was when I was in middle and high school, I had a few real bullies. I mean, that were really, really aggressive and mean, especially in middle school. And then after I became an adult, you would think all that would go away and you wouldn't deal with it anymore. But ironically enough, um, in the jobs I've had and the other organizations I've been a part of, like churches and things like that, I've found people who are just as bad at bullying as a middle school girl or boy or whoever. Um, you would think that adults wouldn't do that, but unfortunately, that's not always the case. And sometimes I'm not sure that they know they're doing it or that they mean to do it. I know I am somewhat sensitive to um, being treated certain ways or having certain things said about me. And I try to take that into account. Sometimes I try to go over things that happen in my mind and try to see them from another perspective and see that maybe they weren't really trying to be mean. They just didn't understand me, or they didn't understand that what they said was so hurtful. But there are some people that no matter how in my mind I try to justify their actions, they're just plain mean. Um, there's really no other word for it. seem to enjoy hurting other people. And some of these bullies, ironically enough, I wasn't always their first victim. It always seems like when someone's a bully, whether they're 10 years old or 50 years old, they always have to have someone to push around. And unfortunately, even if I'm not their first victim, if for some reason they lose their victim, it seems like sometimes I'm an easy person to transfer to. Maybe because there is so much I don't understand, or that is different about me than about other people. I'm not sure, but I do seem to, for some reason, attract people who will be nice to me for a little while and then just suddenly turn on me and treat me really bad. And again, sometimes I try to think, did I do something to cause them to do that? I know sometimes I can push people away when I'm feeling rejected, and maybe that makes it worse, because they feel like I'm mistreating them or something, even though that's not at all what I would mean to do. But when people say really mean things, or just make me feel like they don't like me, my first instinct is to pull away. And that does cause some people to be really mean in reaction, which I don't know. I just don't understand a lot of people, and I probably never will. But unfortunately, years and years and years of trusting people and then having them turn on me, or just having mean people be mean for no reason, it's made me wary of people. And I hate that, because I want to trust people. I want to see the good in people, and I do try to see the good in people, but in so many ways I'm scared to be myself, because often in the past, when I've finally opened up and been myself, who I really am, then I get pushed aside, or people start saying unkind things to me, or they call me immature because some of my interests are, I still like Disney movies. I still, collect certain kinds of toys, that kind of thing. Or I've even had some people say awful things about the fact that I write and, make art and stuff. And I just don't understand that, because what is that hurting anybody? If I enjoy doing that and I'm not being mean or hurting anybody with the stuff I make, why are they using it to hurt me? And I guess that's the part of human nature I'll never understand, is that part of human nature that enjoys hurting other people. And unfortunately, I've seen that part of human nature a lot. And I wish I hadn't, but I have. And so my experiences with the whole social anxiety thing, which have gotten to the point now that sometimes I have to really struggle to make myself be a part of things or to go to social events, unless it's something really related to a specific interest. It's hard for me, because I want to open up and I want to be a part of people's lives, and I want to help people, and I have this desire to make the world a better place. But I also have this fear of just being mistreated and not being liked, and people being mean for no reason, and so I tend to shy away. And sometimes I even have panic attacks when I have to do things or go places and I have to socialize. There have been times, not so much recently, but there were some places a few years ago that I was mistreated, or at least I felt really mistreated. And it got to the point where sometimes I had to go to this place. And so I would get in the car and I would be shaking and crying on the way there. And when I got there, I would just try to hide that I was so shaken up and upset, and sometimes I'd just go off by myself, or often I'd just go off by myself because I didn't want people to see how upset I really was. And I mean, that's true social anxiety. If you've ever had anxiety like that to the point that you're crying and you can't stop yourself and you're shaking, I mean, it's pretty bad. And things have gotten better the last few years. I've quit going to those places that um, were not kind or were making me feel really bad about myself. But it's still a struggle, and I'm still working on trusting people and opening up and all of that stuff. And that was actually one of my New Year's resolutions this year. Although I don't call them New Year's resolutions, I like to think of them as intentions. Something I want to try to work on, but I don't like the word resolution because then I feel like if I mess up, that's it. And I like intention better because I can mess up, but I can still keep trying. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to work on my socializing, but it is not easy with social anxiety. And I think a lot of people who have Asperger's syndrome or even other kinds of anxiety will understand that. But anyhow, if you like this video, please click the thumbs up sign or symbol or whatever you want to call it, and subscribe if you'd like to see future videos, and feel free in the comment section to share, especially if you have Asperger's syndrome, whether you have social anxiety, and if you do you think it was actually a part of your condition, or do you think it, like I think, that it was from years of feelings of rejection and hurt and pain? So that's kind of what I was wondering, is if I'm the only one who seems to have developed social anxiety over the years due to the treatment of other people. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this video and get something useful out of it. So thanks. Bye.